everyone, so we need to take a look at weaves. I'm going to teach how I teach weaves right from the very beginning in case there's anybody who doesn't know or their dog doesn't already do weaves. It's a very quick tutorial. I always teach it starting the same way. I do it with a figure 8 instead of weaving forward. It just gives the handler less things to have to figure out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I teach it right from the very beginning, and I'm also going to work through to where you need to be in the next couple of weeks. So what I mean by that is we need to be to the point where we're using either just a body cue or a verbal cue and no lure for the dog. So I'm going to show you from the very beginning. So the very beginning, I always have treats in both hands. You know, he knows how to weave. He's quite a slow weaver. So, and I've just never kind of tidied it up at all, but maybe we'll tidy it up a bit here today. So he may be a little bit odd because I'm luring to begin with. So just bear with us. Treats in both hands. I'm going to pull him through. Always pull the dog from behind. So you don't ever want to be pushing treats this way. You always pull them through. Excellent. Good boy. So the key for you is to not always put the treat in the same place and be ready to show him where to go the next time he puts his head up. Because, so see how I'm ready to show him? If he was a new dog, he may back out to look at me, and we want to keep the momentum going. And the reason we're rewarding in a different place every time, so sometimes I reward on the outside of my foot, sometimes the inside of my foot. If I did this and rewarded here every time he came around, which is the easiest spot to reward, is the center. If I rewarded in that place every time, I would get a dog who every time they came through the center, they actually would slow up a bit to see where the reward was. So we don't want to do that. So always pick a variable location to reward. Always be ready for them. And when they lift their head up from eating their treat so that they don't have an opportunity to make a mistake and go the wrong way. So, okay, so we've got it where he knows how to lure. We know the next stage is, can you go through with my hand signal but no lure in it? We know he can do that, but with your guys, you might need to wean that out a bit. So he's going through. So now we need to get my hand signal a little bit more minimal. But if you notice, every time I was doing this, I kind of over-exaggerate this movement with my knee. So he's actually getting 2 physical cues. So my dogs really tend to go off of, if you watch, he should go through with the movement of my knee. Go weave. The movement of my knee and not just my hand signal. Oh, pokey, pokey. So, and you know, I laugh and say pokey, pokey, but then I just rewarded him. So always remember, and again, I don't, he's a lot older now, so I don't worry about cleaning things up as much. But if you're going to reward that slow movement, then that's what you're going to get. So if you didn't want that, this is what I would have to do. Go weave. Oh, come on, good boy. Let's go, 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 go. And I would have to get him, yes, a little bit more excited so that I could get an opportunity to reward faster movement. But ideally what you're going to do is set your criteria to have faster movement right from the beginning. So that's great. So we've gone from a complete lure to using just a hand signal to using just body movement. So with your dogs, they may not lean right away. They may not lean like, as soon as you lean, they may not go through. So you may need to go back to, you lean and you show them just a little hand signal. You lean and show them a little hand signal. But you shouldn't need to do that for long dogs because you're still using a physical cue. Figure this out very quickly. So what we want in the end is we want a dog who's just going to go through and your hands don't have to have anything to do with it. They just see that motion, your physical cue of your leg going out, and that tells them to weave. So once they have that, once they see that physical cue and they automatically just go through, then I want for you to start adding your weave cue, because we do need to change it to a verbal weave rather than just the cue of them going forward. And I'll get into that later, but this is just for you to start building towards getting your hands completely out of the picture. But we do in the end want to go weave, and then show them the cue to weave, yes. Weave, and then show them the cue to weave. So the weave starts to mean weave. So weave starts to mean to go through your legs when weave, weave, weave. Now, again, he isn't, yes, good boy. Now, you know, Jib would just go through my legs. I wouldn't have to keep saying weave and so on and so forth. So just see where you're at with your dog. I just wanted to use Sunny for a demo here. So see where you're at with your guys. Post your videos, let me see where you're at, and then later on we'll talk about why we want to turn it onto a verbal, a total verbal, rather than just your cue of your leg going forward. But for right now, I want you to work towards no hand movement. Your hands are completely out of there. You show your dog your forward weave, and they automatically go through without any hand work. Okay, good luck with that.